Hi, this is Catherine. This is Taking Tea with Catherine. This is Emily Dickens' Jasmine Tea Blend from Simpson and Vale in a lovely bookish mug that I got from Barnes & Noble a long time ago. Because I thought, I love jasmine tea, no matter what. But I thought, what better type of tea to drink and what better type of mug to drink when the main thing I'm focusing on for my January reading is to read about books. Read about books in January. So I already talked about that in a video recently, but just to, say as a reminder, I thought that it might be nice to read about books, even though I read about books all the time. Almost every month I have a book about books, let's face it. But because I really enjoy them, but I thought it really is a way to get in the mood for reading different types of books. I think it whets the appetite, as you might say. So that's the main part of this TBR for January 2022. There's a lot more books than I can actually read, I think, unless I literally did nothing but read in January, which is not going to happen. There are some TV shows I'm going to be watching in January, and, work and other responsibilities. But anyway, but that will be my main focus. There will be other types of books in this TBR, so I will show them as well. So again, I will not read every single one of these books in January, but I'm going to give it the best shot I can. The first one is a book I'm definitely going to read on New Year's Day, because that's a tradition now, starting with Hardcover Hearts, and other channels are joining in, channels and also Instagram people, Instagrammers, bookstagrammers, whatever you want to call it. The color on this camera just got a little bluish, didn't it? It's very weird. But this cover actually kind of is bluish. But anyway, this is to me the ultimate book about books. 84 Charon Crossroad by Helene Hanff, one of my favorite reads and also a reread. Very much of a reread. One of my most reread books ever. And I just love to be starting the year with this. What happened is I didn't put any other books by Helene Hanff in here, in my TBR. But what always happens, at least it has happened the first few years that I've been reading 84 Charon Crossroad in January, is still seems to be going in and out blue. Sorry about that. I'm not really great with lighting, and it's very weird. Anyway, let's not get too distracted. But yeah, so usually when I read 84 Charing Cross Road, I want to do like the what happens next. So I either read the next book, Duchess of Bloomsbury Street, or I'll read one of her other books, her memoirs, etc. And that kind of veers me off of my TBR. So we'll see if I do that again in January, because it might happen. It won't be totally off, because a lot of those books are somewhat books about books as well. But still, I kind of want to stay slightly focused. It's a reread, as are two other books I'm going to be showing you, but I thought I might start this book that I found at Book Off last year, or this year, but it'll be last year really soon, so whatever. And this is by Anne Fadiman. Well, it's a, she edited it. Rereadings. So it's 17 essays by writers, I think. Yes, writers revisiting books they love, which I thought would be kind of great, because it is books about books and rereading, and that is one of my many, not sort of goals, but just a little thing that I want to just keep in practice, So I will show you two, is that it? Besides 84 Charing Cross Road, I think that'll be it, of books that I'm rereading in January. One of them I'm just going to start. I don't think I'm going to finish, but this one I really want to read in January, and that is Lost in a Good Book by Jasper Fforde. This is actually the second book, excuse me, in the Thursday Next series, which are novels about other things too. It's a little bit of sci-fi, fantasy, a little time travel thrown in there, but it is really books about books. It's someone who is able to read themselves into the book world, and the book world comes out too and works with her in certain things, which I think is pretty great. This one, like I said, I read the first one, The Air Affair, recently as a reread, so this one is, I don't know if I'm going to read everything, but it says, the love of her life has been eradicated by the corrupt multinational Goliath. That's Thursday Next, the main character. And to rescue him, Thursday must retrieve a supposedly vanquished enemy from the pages of The Raven. If you like Poe, that's kind of cool. But Poe is off limits to even the most seasoned literary interloper. Enter a professional, the man-hating Miss Havisham from Dickens' Great Expectations. As Miss H's new apprentice, Thursday keeps her motive secret as she learns The Ropes of Jurisfiction, where she moonlights as a prose resource operative inside books. As if jumping into the works, sorry, my nose is itchy, of Kafka and Austen, and even Beatrix Potter's Tale of the Flopsy Bunnies weren't enough, Thursday finds herself the target of a series of potentially lethal coincidences. The authenticator of a newly discovered play by the bard himself, and the only one who can prevent an unidentifiable pink sludge from engulfing all life on Earth. It's a lot of fun. I remember I really enjoyed it when I first started reading it, and when I first read it. I hadn't read Great Expectations, so I got the appeal, but I also didn't understand everything about it. Now that I have read Great Expectations, it's a little bit more exciting, I think. Okay, I tried to adjust the light. It doesn't look like it's going to happen today. Gosh, it's like moods, right? When you think you're feeling pretty good, then suddenly you feel blue. Goodness, well, that works for January, doesn't it? Anyway, so the next one's a reread that I'm going to start. I don't think I'm going to finish it in January, although I wouldn't be disappointed if I did. But it is a biography of my favorite poet, and it's another reread. Like Lost in a Good Book, it's a book that I read about 20 years ago. Pretty sure I started it around January or February, but I think January of 2002. And I've been dying to reread it, so now I just said, I gotta take it off the shelf, because it's been up here staring at me, or staring at you guys for a long time, and I just keep talking about how much I want to read it, and I'm like, no, now. So, Savage Beauty, by Nessie Milford, not Miss Milford, The Life of Edna St. Vincent Millay. I love her so much. Her life was really interesting, and this is just such a great story, so well written. And she's also the author of Zelda, which I have a copy of and haven't read yet. I thought I was going to read that first, but I really am in the mood for her. And the time period that she lived in too, a lot of like the 20s, that time, that era, early 20th century, is just enjoyable to me. And yeah, so I'm so excited. I am so excited about that one. Not necessarily the happiest story, but whose is, especially poets' lives are rarely happy, but very exciting. So that's my other reread. By the way, if you haven't read this one yet, and that this sounds at all interesting to you, really start it. It is really worth it. Really. Did I mention really? Okay, so what else am I going to show you here? I have a ton of books that I checked out from the library that are books about books. Should I go into them next? Yes, I will go into them next, and then I'll get into a couple of other books, right? I really do need to read some of these. This first one, I took out of the library not too long ago, but I didn't really have the opportunity to read it no matter how much I wanted to, which was kind of disappointing, because then it became overdue at the library, which, now that they've changed the no more fines thing, I thought, I don't want to be a jerk and keep it out for a million months, but I thought I could keep it out until January and read it in January. No problem, right? Except now, if you've had it out overdue without returning it for over a month, they bill you for it. And you can only get that off of your record when you return it, which felt very, because it's not like you're billed 25 cents a day. You're billed like the cost of the book, which is usually at least $20. So that put me in a ew feeling, yeah, I don't want to be in that kind of state with the library. I don't want to have bills that I don't need, right? So I returned it and put it on hold at my other library, the Queens branch, and I got a large print edition, which doesn't bother me so much. But this is a novel, and it's a novel about books. And this is the reading list by Sarah Nisha Adams. So I'm looking forward to this time. I'm really going to read it. I promise. And I heard it's a little bit of a tearjerker. I heard it's a really good story. I think it takes place in London. So that also is one of my many things that I do, is read about London. Hello. I'll never stop with my love for reading things that take place in London. So I'm going to tell you more about it when I finally actually read it. This is a book I took out at the library as well, and I don't know how enthusiastic I am about this one. I just thought it's a book about books, so if I start it, good. If not, I just want to check it out. And if I'm not really into it by a few pages in, or when I say a few pages, like 20 pages in, I'll give up on it or start again. But hey, Around the World in 80 Books by David Damrosch. Beautiful cover. I mean, any kind of cover like this just makes me so happy. There are pictures in here, but I think they're all black and white, I think, which is okay. But I mean, I love a good color book as well. But it says, and this goes a little bit with the fact that I just finished reading this month Around the World in 80 Days, and I'm watching the program, which I both like, but I'm also like, that didn't happen in the book, that didn't happen in the book, that didn't happen in the book, this did happen in the book, but not like that, which is why maybe I shouldn't have just read it right before. I should have read it a year before, but whatever. It says, inspired by Jules Verne's hero, Phileas Fogg, David Damrosch, chair of Harvard University's Department of Comparative Literature, woohoo, set out to counter a pandemic's restrictions on travel. Oh, well, very recent. By exploring 80 exceptional books from around the globe, following a literary itinerary from London to Venice, Tehran, and points beyond, and via authors from Woolf and Dante to Nobel Prize winners Orhan Pamuk, Wol Soyinka, sorry if I don't pronounce that correctly, Mo Yan, and Olga, oh boy, sorry, Tokarzuk, really apologize. He examines how these works have changed our ideas of the world and the ways in which the world bleeds into literature. So that could be really good. I mean, I don't know if I'm in the mood for stuff that happened during the pandemic, but I still think I could get into it, so we'll see. This is a book that I'm not sure if I'm really going to be into, but it is Cats and Books, and it's The Cat Who Saved Books, a novel by, again, another name I can't pronounce, Sosuke Natsukawa. I hope that's correct. I think it's about a person who inherits a bookshop and encounters a talking cat. Now, if I read Jasper Fforde, I'm going to have a talking cat in there. The Cheshire Cat appears at some point in the book, so I might be a little overloaded with talking cats. I already have a talking cat, just not in English. But but we'll see. And I'll let you know if I get into that one. But this is helpful because you can see the ones I'm less enthusiastic about or curious about, but not entirely. So that can help me prioritize a little bit. This is another book about libraries, and I haven't really gotten into exactly what it's about because I think it's just about libraries, but I've read books about libraries before, and you always think it's going to be straightforward, and then sometimes it veers into things that you're like, oh, not sure if I really care about that too much, or I do care about that and didn't realize I did. So I'm talking a little fast. I've only had a couple of sips, so excuse me. Let us slow down. The Library, A Fragile History by Andrew Pettigrew and Arthur der Weduen. Weduen? I am really not batting 1,000 today with my pronunciations. I apologize to everybody. By the way, my last name is pronounced Tom, so before you think you can get back at me by saying Thom, it's not happening. You've heard it here. Tom. All right. 2 more books about books that I wouldn't mind reading in January. One of which was in my TBR, I think, for December, but I said, I'm gonna wait. I didn't say it like that, but but apparently I did now. And that was A Girl Walks Into a Book, which is a memoir about reading the Brontes, which I do want to read. So hopefully I will get to it. It's very bright, right? It kind of matches with the reading list. Ooh, I could do a nonfiction fiction pair, even though it probably won't work that way, but it just really does go, right? Lost in a Good Book sort of does too. But anyway, I digress. We'll see. Let's really hope I can get to that. And here's a book that who knows if I will, in my continual quest to want to read more poems, and maybe do another Poetry Thursday, maybe not. We'll see. In January, I really do want to make more videos about books that I've read over the years, not just the ones I'm currently reading, and subjects related to that. So I don't know how much poetry I can really focus on, but this is a beautiful book, and I love these Everyman Library collections. I have a number of them. There's one about trees that I want to get, but I'm going to hold off on it. But this is Books and Libraries Poems. So wouldn't that be kind of cool? I'm trying to see if I can give an example. Here's one about libraries by Robert L. Chapman. And let's see. Philip Meter. I haven't even heard of half these people. This is fantastic. Oh, I have heard of some of these names, but yeah, most of these, which is, I'm not really an expert on poetry. I have favorites and I have few that I know quite a lot about, but there are so few that I know that much about. Oh, there's one by Maya Angelou. I know about her. So this could be good to at least dip into a little bit. Right, Janie? Right, Janie? Yeah. Uh-oh. She's got her tail in here. She's going to be showing her backside to you guys if she's not careful. Yeah, you're a little show off, aren't you? And yes? Okay. To start my book journaling for January, I thought I'd have a really bookish set that I found in Barnes & Noble. It's still got the wrapper on it. I have been very unsuccessful, I have to say, with my book journaling in recent times. And I don't know if it's the format or if it's just my excuse, the format, but I thought this one is small, toteable. It looks like it could stand up to a little bit of beating, and $7 for 3 little books, and I thought that wasn't too bad. It's a set of 3 journals, Bodleian Libraries bookshelves. So that is Oxford and Bodleian. Anyway, I thought that would be kind of fun. Set of 3 softcover foil journals. Each has a rounded spine with alternating lined and blank pages. So I could have all kinds of fun with this. And hopefully I will, because last year I tried the, what do you call it? The loose leaf binder, because I thought that would be good. And it was to a point, but it just, I don't know, it didn't work for me. So yeah, starting it, I would like to do this every day, but I won't be upset if I don't, but I still really love to. Like, I've had books that are like poetry for every day of the year, Shakespeare for every day of the year, and these are all wonderful things. But this one I've had out the longest, not from the library, I bought it in 2006. I remember specifically because I remember what was happening during that time. Not a happy time, but this is way before BookTube, when I was following book blogs, and one book blogger that I particularly liked recommended this book, and I got it, and I've seen it on other BookTubers' videos, so I thought, well, I've had it this long, and it looks like it's never been touched, basically. Well, slight dent on the side, but that's okay. And that's The Assassin's Cloak, an anthology of the world's greatest diarists, and it is just excerpts from people's diaries every day. Like, so it starts out with Samuel Pepys, which is perfect. It should always start with Samuel Pepys if possible. And Boswell's in there too. Virginia Woolf is in here. I mean, I saw her picture in the front anyway. Beatrix Potter's in here. A lot of names that I'm not going to try to pronounce yet. And I just love the idea of, like, I think it might inspire me to keep up my own journals and stuff. I could be wrong about that. I keep saying I'm looking for inspiration. Sometimes you just have to take the inspiration out of yourself. But anything that can help. So I would like to maybe read every day 1 page, obviously, from this book. And which would mean that I would, if I read every day, I would finish it by the end of next December. So no rush there, but that's definitely something I'm going to start in January. So that's all. That's kind of related to Books About Books, because it's writers, mostly writers' diaries. And these are 3 books that are not related to my, read about books in January. It'd be nice if I could actually remember my own projects and ideas. But these are all like group reads with other booktubers. There is a truck. Oh, it's a sanitation truck, you guys. It says don't litter. I got a nice message just by sitting not too far from a window. Janie's decided she's not going to show herself, but she's right next to me. She's being lately she's been a little more like coming up to me and being a little bit affectionate, and I'm hoping this lasts. I'm really hoping it lasts. I don't mind if she's a little bit of a wild kitty, but I kind of need that little sweet kitty thing that I used to have from Zenobia, but you don't want to make any cat a substitute. Okay, this is TBR, not a cat thing. So I've been reading this series about Ian Rutledge by Charles Todd, and the second book was not, I'll get into it in my wrap up, but it wasn't as good to me. Like, I didn't like it as much as the first one. I didn't hate it, but so this third one is probably like the deciding factor of whether, if everybody likes it, we'll keep going. But this one I got out of the library, and it is Search the Dark. So that's all I'm going to say about it right now. I don't know if it's that good, but it could be good. So I'm hoping it is. It goes into Dorset now, which last time it was in Cornwall, I think. So I kind of like this going around England bit, but hopefully it will be good. This is kind of a cozy book. This is by the writer of the Betsy Tacy novels. I think it's related. I think it's part of the series. But I've never read any of the Betsy Tacy's, and I've heard so much about them on different channels, and they sound fantastic. I know my sister read them. I think, I'm pretty sure. But this one is the group read for one of the groups. I think it's the Kindred Spirits, which sounds lovely and very cozy. And already it's got a little bit of a dent in the pages. How this happens, I do not know. But anyway, I got a pretty good deal on it on, like, I don't know, Thrift Books or Abe Books or one of those places. And that is Emily of Deep Valley by Maud Hart Lovelace. So this sounds like fun. Apparently she comes across in Minnesota a Syrian community, which is cool because I always like to look for excuses to pair like foods and drink with what I'm reading. So I'm like, this gives me an excuse to go back to the place not far from me that sells baklava. But I like baklava, but they also have kunefa, which is a sort of, I don't know how to describe it, kind of cheese with like this sweet topping. Really hard to describe, but I had a couple months ago, and I've been looking for an excuse to go back there and get more. Maybe I will do that. Maybe have a nice mint tea with it. You'll see. But either way, even if I don't, this just sounds like such a lovely book. And doesn't it look so cute? And I could use cozy in January. I certainly can. All right, and last but not least, this is Jennifer Books. Jennifer Books. Yeah, that actually sounds pretty cool. Jennifer Books is starting like a classic book club, and I could always read more classics, just really. And even though I didn't mention this particular writer, because basically I'm not sure if I can say his name, I'm like really lacking confidence in my name pronunciation lately. But whatever. He was someone I had in mind, so when I saw this, I said, "Ooh, this will go along with my mini goal to read more Russian writers." And I have heard that this is a really good book. This is Fathers and Sons by Ivan Turgenev. Did I say that right? That'd be great if I did. And it looks kind of bigger than you think, but that's because it is one of my Norton Critical Editions, which I so love. I have a number of books with that. I have the Canterbury Tales, which I know I was asked about by, I think, a commenter, which I'm not planning on reading anytime soon. So maybe in the future I will let you know in terms of buddy reads or whatever. But I do love the format of the Norton Critical Edition because, well, it has pretty good notes, but also it has all kinds of essays and things by other writers about the book or the writer himself and other things by the writer. And it's just so, it's like scholarly kind of, but without being just scholarly. It's enjoyably scholarly, I guess, if that makes sense. So that's a lot of reading for January. It's not intimidating to me because, to me, and anyway, that book I don't think I have to finish in January. I think it goes into February. But either way, I love this, and I might throw more books about books in, depending on mood, or other books that have nothing to do with it, depending on mood. Always leave room for mood reading, even if you haven't left room for mood reading, if that makes sense. But that's everything for now. Please let me know what your reading plans are. I will try to watch everybody's, other booktubers' TBR videos as well, because that's always fun. And either way, I hope you really enjoy your reading month in January, because I hope I will too. And I hope you've enjoyed the year that we've had so far. Well, not so far, the end. But anyway, this is Catherine at Taking Tea with Catherine. Have a lovely tea and book-filled day and year and month. Oh dear. Bye.